Okay, so first people are starting to join. Hey guys. So yeah, I think we'll wait for a bit for everyone to join and then we'll start. Hi Faisal. Yeah. Hi everyone. So everyone entering. Hope you can find something useful from this. Is this better? Someone mentioned to straighten the camera. Does this work? Yeah. Excuse me. Okay, one sec. So I think once we reach, I don't know, maybe like 30, 40 people, which we're very close to, I think we might as well start. Oh yeah, so hi. Okay, yeah, so I'm already seeing quite a few requests to a lot for Pyraminx actually. So first some hellos, yeah. Hey everyone. So we're seeing some how do I get sub and on Pyraminx, some what's your favorite cube. Yeah, it's all there, so I'll make sure to come to that first thing. Okay, yeah, I think since we're we've kind of leveled off at about 30, I'd say. If it increases or decreases throughout that, it'll be good, but I think we might as well start. So, hey, my name is Naren Ramesh. I'm 14 years old. I started cubing in, I'd say, early 2015, and I attended my first comp in the May of 2015, which was Indian Nationals 2015. So I started at Nationals, and yeah, so I've been cubing, I'd not say for like an extremely long time, but like over 5 years now. So I've definitely been here for a while, and I got sponsored by QnA last year, and yeah, it's been really good. So first of all, thank you to them for letting this happen. But I think without further ado, we can start with the Q&A as Faisal has said. So yeah, we're seeing. Yeah, okay, so first I think Atharva mentioned what's your favorite cube. To be honest, I really don't have like a favorite cube per se. Hardware has never been a big concern for me, as in I've always been able to really come to terms with whatever hardware I have and improve. So for favorite cube, I'd probably still choose one. I'd probably choose the right now the Mr. M Pyraminx. The Mr. M Pyraminx right now, I really enjoy solving on it. Although the frosted plastic on the outside makes it a bit hard to grip, it's still really nice to turn, and I still enjoy it a lot. So yeah, I'd say the Mr. M Pyraminx is my favorite puzzle right now. Which class? I'm in 9th grade. Although we still do have school even with all this lockdown stuff. So yeah. Okay, can you give tips for sub 3.5 on Pyraminx? Okay, yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I average, I think, about globally maybe 2.7-ish. Yeah, I average like close to the high 2-ish on Pyraminx. So that's there. Someone mentioned in a comment. Okay, yeah. So where are you from? Yeah, I'm here from Bangalore. I've lived in Bangalore for basically most of my life. So yeah. Why Pyra is the worst event? I wouldn't agree with you, but everyone really has their opinion on events. A lot of people don't like fast events like 2x2, skew, Pyraminx, so I can respect that, I guess. Hey. Okay, so we have Naren. Favorite WCA event right now for me, it's Pyraminx. Pyraminx right now is my basically main event and my favorite event to compete in. I guess that stems from part of the fact that I also, I think it's probably my best event in terms of results as well right now. Although there are no competitions, I still enjoy competing in events I do well in. 4 OH, I don't do 4x4 and I'm okay at OH, so yeah. Favorite event after Pyraminx, it's either 2x2 or 3x3. Both of them are very fun to compete in. After that, I'd kind of club a lot of events together, but yeah. Okay, so what do we have? What do you think are the limits of Ortega method? Okay, so this is actually a very interesting question. So me personally, I believe that for 2x2, LBL, which is layer by layer, is actually better than Ortega for a lot of reasons, but mainly because it doesn't involve things like X2 rotations and it doesn't involve a lot of other inadequacies that kind of will mess up the solve. So Ortega from time to time can produce better times as with any method, but I think really if you want consistency without learning that many algorithms on 2x2, your best bet is for layer by layer, I think, because Ortega can prove inconsistent because, for example, I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, okay, so for example, a 2x2 solve like this, hopefully it's viewable. So if I was to make a layer and then immediately proceed into doing the OLL without much pause and then do a J-pump to finish it off, that's relatively quick solve without many like rotations or anything. If I do Ortega, like obviously some solves can be very nice, but I think LBL is a bit more of a consistent method. Best 2x2, I think the best 2x2, it depends, so if you are into light puzzles that can turn very quickly, I would think the GAN 251 is pretty good, and the heavier puzzles, the Volk 2M is a very good cube. Favorite method in solving the Pyraminx, I personally only use L4E for Pyraminx. L4E is a V-first method, so there are two main methods for Pyraminx. There is top first and there is V-first. V-first is when you solve a V on the bottom layer and then you use an algorithm to solve the rest of the puzzle. Then there's a top first in which you solve the top edges in relation to the centers and then solve the bottom. I use V-first as of now. I've been trying to learn other methods, but yeah, it's just L4E for me. GAN or Volk, I think the Volk, personally for me at least, GAN cubes are a bit on the expensive side, and more importantly, I think for that expensiveness, they don't provide you with any kind of compensation in terms of performance. They have customizability and things like that, but I think that they don't necessarily, they don't basically, the price difference isn't compensated through any of the extra price. Basically, in my opinion, isn't worth it in any case. How do we solve 15 and 3x3? Okay, so I was stuck at a 15-ish average for 3x3 for quite a while. What I would say is, first of all, don't put off learning algorithms. If you kind of put off learning algorithms like OLL or even PLL, I've seen people who don't know full PLL till they average 13. Make sure to learn all those alg sets because I think it's very useful to know those algs early on, because that way you don't have to basically be stuck up on such things early on. But yeah, I think after that sub 15, just go for just practice a lot. Practice a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean like just practice a lot. Mainly, else actually, one thing I'd recommend is instead of focusing a lot on last layer, I'd say probably focus a lot on F12, because F12 is like the biggest thing. As in, a lot of people can get by even with possibly like you can probably get to sub 9 without the most optimal LL obviously, but F12 is very important if you use an F12 method for roux and those such methods. I'm not really sure. So hope that answered your question. Yeah, so waiting. How to convince parents? I don't have to convince my parents. Yeah, that's something I've never really had to do. I think my parents have supported my cubing for quite a while, so that's very nice. How do I speed up my F12, please? Yeah, okay, I'll help you with that. Give me a second. Okay, yeah, so here's a 3x3 basically. I think. Oh yeah, so over here someone's asking, do you know full VLS, somewhat ZBLL? I don't know many big ALK sets, but yeah, look ahead is one thing that I know a bit about, I can say so. Once you're done with cross, which by the way, if you don't know, like if you're not one looking across, you should probably get to do that. But yeah, so once you're done with your cross, I'd say the first thing is, a lot of people recommend this, but do a lot of slow turning solves and such. So slow turning solves, what they help you do is they help you track pieces more, so that when you recognize cases, basically, even when you're turning fast, for example, in competition. So basically, when you're turning fast in competition, you can recognize such cases because you've done practice when you've done practice with such cases. So for example, with this kind of case, so I'm done with my cross on green, for example, and if I see a pair like this, I know immediately how I should go into it and solve it, basically without much hesitation in competition. Next, I see these two, so I pair them up like that, solve them in. So those are all basically what you should really be doing, is focusing on how to basically just recognize cases, because ultimately I think once you get to about sub 11 probably, yeah, once you get to about sub 11, you're not going to really be thinking about how you're going to solve a particular pair. You're going to be thinking about how you're just going to be seeing the case you get and performing like an algorithm, or basically a set of triggers that you know to solve that. So I think, yeah, that's what you should be doing. Atharva, I'm not ignoring you. Yeah, some of your questions. Okay, fine. So I'll pin that comment. You've been saying that, right? So, oh no, yeah, there. Okay, fine. So, yeah, next questions. Channel on YouTube. Okay, yeah. So I have a YouTube channel. I think it's in my bio on my Instagram page, and I've been focusing a lot more on making higher quality YouTube videos, especially on tutorials on events such as Pyraminx 2x2 and 3x3. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check it out, because I do go quite in depth on those. What's your main 3x3? My main 3x3 right now is the Volk Elite M. It's a very nice cube. I made a review on it, so check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, it's a very nice cube. It's just to sum it up quickly, it's kind of like a mix between the Volk Power and Volk M. It has very light turning. I think it's the lightest out of them, but it also has a very smooth feel that you don't really get on the Volk. So yeah, I think it's like the perfect combination between the both of them. Tips on old Pokemon. I'm not very good at blind. I have one blind success officially, but what I'd say to get better at old Pokemon is really to just probably just work on your like algorithms and such a lot. I think probably the best thing to do is, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of people that I talk to, even though I'm not the blind expertise, like a lot of people that I've talked to say that like they only use T perms and the Y perms to solve blind. I'd say probably branch out, learn few other algorithms like J perms and such, to different swaps so that you're a bit more versatile. That's one thing. When will you start Megamix? I've been getting into a few events recently for like I think Square One. I really enjoy Square One. I'm just not really good at it, so I started doing that. It's very fun. What's the name of your YouTube channel? My YouTube channel is just Naren Ramesh, my name, and yeah, the logo is basically just a black, an all black logo with some green cubes and my name. So yeah, check it out if you haven't already. Name of your channel. Okay, let's see some other questions. Favorite non-official cube. So one of the, I have a 2x2x3. It turns very similarly to a square one, and I enjoy solving on it. I also at one point was practicing it and was getting pretty fast at it. Should I go for a faster feel? Should I go for a fast feel and more comfortable setting up my 3x3? It depends for you. See, right now obviously we're not having many competitions, but there'll still be online competitions and stuff like that. So I think if you really want to set up your puzzle to avoid things like nerves, it really depends for you. So I know some people that basically don't feel nerves at all, and they're able to basically set up a cube completely to their preference from home, so like very fast and like loose possibly. So yeah, doing things like that work for some people. For me it doesn't. I also have quite a few, like I've had quite a few mess ups due to nerves, so I think that I always have to so I set up cubes slightly slower for myself. Favorite cuber from India? My favorite cuber from India, not sure who. I'd probably say Vijay Kishore. I really like Anish Rajesh for some time because he did a lot of the events that I do apart from big cubes, obviously. So yeah, 2x2 namely. So yeah, those people. Also delegates. What do you have? Your favorite cuber in the world? I don't really have a favorite cuber. I've looked up to a lot of like big cubers when I was like just starting out. Oh no. Favorite company? Favorite company for cubing? It's honestly quite tough. I'd say because I use a lot of Chi puzzles. Chi probably. I like the feel of a lot of their puzzles, and I think that they're generally using maybe like a good plastic or something, because their puzzles seem to like just work very well, and I really enjoy using them. Okay, next. A lot of, okay, fine. Let's go to the bottom. Tips for sub 3.5 in Pyraminx. Okay, so I think I already went over this a bit, but yeah, basically I'm starting a series on my YouTube channel about it, but just to go over it like in a bit of, in like a simpler fashion, I think what you should do, hi Sripad, what you should probably be doing is you should be basically assuming that you're doing L4A, because I don't know much about top first. You should be breaking down your solves into like the three parts. So you have your basically your V building, you have your L4E recognition and execution, and finally you have your tips. So in my opinion, actually for solvers that are averaging about 5 tips are very important. Tips are a big mistake, because if you are able to execute tips correctly, you can actually easily drop about 2 seconds or like a little less than that off your solve. So I think that's very important. Besides that, making efficient layers, so using your inspection timing well, and finally I guess just recognizing your L4E case by drilling them a lot. Favorite city for competition? I really actually enjoy Mumbai competitions. Bangalore competitions are very fun. Chennai, actually I really enjoy competitions wherever I go. I really enjoy them. Nats in Delhi was really good. I went for US Nationals once. That was also really nice. So yeah, they're all really fun competitions. How many methods do you know for Pyraminx? I know L4E. I have also started experimenting with a few top first methods for Pyraminx. So like Oka and one flip and such. I'm not really good at them yet, but I'm still trying to learn them, because some, as I've learned, I guess a lot of top solvers use top first, and often they have, like for example, Timon, he's the world champion for Pyraminx, and he's method neutral, which means that he uses both V first and top first for some solves, which makes him a lot more versatile. So I think that's something I want to try to do. Indus Cube Open, it didn't work. I tried to get the venue for the competition, but unfortunately, due to time constraints during the school year, we weren't able to do it. And yeah, after that, the idea kind of just died down. I tried doing it for my school fest as well, but unfortunately, it didn't work out then as well. So maybe someday, but not now. Okay, fine. Best budget 2x2 under 500. To be honest, I haven't really tried out many, but for under 500 here, on a pretty big price constraint, I would probably say go for the Yushin Little Magic Pyraminx, Yushin Little Magic 2x2, my bad. Yeah, it seems to have the best performance for price. I'm not sure if it's under 500, but I assume it's got to be pretty close, so make sure to check that out. Favorite cubing channel? My favorite cubing channel, it's probably something like, I think it's JPOM. I watch a lot of JPOM. JPOM actually helped me improve my 3x3 actually quite a bit, so I'd suggest watching a lot of JPOM's videos on tips for some things like 3x3 look ahead. His reconstructions are very nice, so yeah. His old Pokemon tutorial also, it's very good, so yeah. Waiting for some new questions. Okay, so I think after some point, I might start getting into like walkthroughs all for Pyraminx, some competition experiences. Those are all things that we can talk about for some time. Sub 10 on 3x3. Sub 10 on 3x3, I'd say that once you're like about sub 12, you should know everything you need to know to get sub 10. As in, like, you don't really need to learn anything new from sub 12 to sub 10. That might not be the best like mindset when you're thinking about it, but I don't think there's really an immediate cost to know anything by that. I mean, you should know like about full OLL, full PLL. You don't need to know any like intricate alg sets for last layer and such, but like as long as you know like some efficient F12 solutions, OLL and PLL, that should take you to sub 10. Just practice a lot, I'd say. Practice a lot and do the slow turning solves. Pyraminx method, L4E. Favorite channel for Pyraminx? I don't actually watch many channels that do Pyraminx. Sorry, Tarva. But favorite channel for Pyraminx, I'd say probably DJ Cubes. Doesn't really upload many tutorials, but I watch some of his solves and they help me kind of improve on mine, so I'd say probably him. Although he doesn't seem to be doing Pyraminx that much anymore. What should you average on Pyra to reach nationals? You don't really have to. If you're talking about nationals finals, I'd probably say about sub 4 to sub 3.8ish should get you into finals pretty comfortably. But for nationals at least, you can just sign up and go. It doesn't really matter. Yes, I know full OLL. I learned it recently actually. That's one thing, is that I put off learning full OLL for a long time. So that's something you shouldn't do. Make sure to learn OLL earlier on, like maybe about 15 average-ish. That's like when you should actually sit down and learn OLL. But yeah, I know full OLL now. Best budget Pyraminx. I think the usual Magic Pyraminx also. Probably his on a budget's good. How do I improve on 3x3? I'm sub 28 average. I know full OLL and PLL. Okay, so you already know OLL and PLL. Sub 28. Then that means your F12, or either you're not using F12, which I hope you're not, or you're just your F12 solutions aren't good, or you don't have look ahead. So I'd say just drill a lot of F12, because since you know full OLL and PLL, your last layer is pretty solid for what you average. So I'd say just drill a lot of F12. Go on to, there are a lot of resources like Cube Skills and such. That's run by Felix Zemdex. They all help you, like they have OLL like besides like obviously last layer algorithms, they have, for example, some F12 algorithms for the tricky cases. Anthony Brooks' website also has it, so check it out. Beginners, okay, then switch to F12. Yeah. Favorite comp and worst comp. My least favorite comp was Nationals 2018, because like although I did perform pretty well for myself, I think the organization just put off the event, and it ended on like a not so nice note. Favorite competition, Nats 2019. Although I did like break an art Shastra, I think more memorable for me was actually podiuming with a not so good average, but it was still nice. So I'm sub 20 with beginner's method, lol. On 3x3, if you're on 3x3, then switch to F12. Beginner's method for 20, obviously you can go faster, but with beginners, but it's not like you'd want to switch to F12 immediately. Which Pyra method do you use? Please tell. Yeah, I use L4E for Pyraminx, which is a V first method, if I had mentioned already. basically how it works is you solve, so I'll just do it without the tips because those don't really matter. So you solve a B on a side like this on blue, and then from there you use an algorithm to solve the rest of the puzzle. Will show us your fancy finger tricks. I don't use many fancy finger tricks. I just use these turns and these turns for U moves. R, L. I do some nice tip solutions and like when I'm executing quickly. So yeah. How do you hold Pyraminx? That's a very interesting question. So how I hold Pyraminx is basically for my right turn, because I do a lot of my faster turns with my right hand, I only keep 3 fingers on my right hand, like so. So basically like this. And then for my left hand, I include my ring finger because it helps bring stability. So this is my how I hold it, and I keep my thumb over here on the center, and I keep my other thumb on the center. But it's basically a symmetrical hold, except the main difference is that I have my ring finger under here to provide stability. I have subscribed your YouTube channel. Thank you. Any tips for FMC improvement? Okay, FMC is not an event that I have too much like expertise with per se, but I can tell you that as long as you really use the 1 hour effectively to try to optimize your solution, you should be getting like at least consistently sub 45 even with CFOP. So I use a few like block building techniques and stuff, but apart from that I use nothing, and I have like a 33.67 mean, I believe. So yeah, it's possible to get decent enough to like podium at some local competitions with FMC. But I'd say if you want to really get into the event, make sure to learn things like NIS, proper block building, all that kind of stuff. It's very useful. How long did it take you to learn full CLL? Full CLL, it didn't take me that long to learn it, but I think it took me about a month or so, which obviously a month, I think that's underestimating. Probably 2 to 2.5, I'd say. Yeah. So you can definitely do it faster if you cram a lot of algorithms, if you're that kind of person. It takes me a while, so I ended up spending a lot of time on that to learn it, and I learned EG1, and I've known EG1 for a long time. I'm having like trouble executing them and like using them properly in competitions. Best Pyraminx on the market. I made a video about this, like literally it was just uploaded today, but I'd say probably you have 4 options. There's the Yushin Huanglong, the Mr. M, the X-Man Bell, which I have here, and finally the Moyu Magnetic. They all have very different turning, and like particularly the Mr. M has the frosted plastic, so you have to consider all that stuff. Hi Ishan, how to be sub 2 in 2x2? I don't even have a sub 2 official average in 2x2, but I can tell you because I think globally I'm about sub 2. You probably want to learn CLL and EG1. EG2 is not really necessary. You can just work with anti-CLL. So by that what I mean is if you have like cases like this where basically you have the diagonal swap on the layer, and you basically do the anti version of the CLL to get a diag on the top and then do an R2 F2 R2. Yeah, with that and just a lot of emphasis on looking ahead and like one looking and such, just yeah, that should be. Worst cube you used officially? I used, like, obviously my hardware now is better than it used to be, but I'd say the worst cube I used officially was probably a Shengshao Pyraminx I used for my first few competitions. Definitely it didn't work out well at all. Okay, so we've reached about 30 minutes, so I think we might as well get into a few walkthrough solves. If that'll be useful to any of you guys, I'll be talking about Pyraminx. So yeah, hope that'll be useful to you guys. But anyways, yeah. Okay, so we can do a couple of Pyraminx solves. I'll pull up CS timer and just show you a couple of solves if that'll help you guys. CLL will make Indian Nats finals for 2x2. Yes, I do believe it will. If you know CLL properly and you can apply it well, like I've made Nats finals every year since about 2017, and really in 2017 I didn't even know CLL. I was going off Ortega and I made Nats finals. So yeah, that's, you don't really need that much. Okay, I'll do a couple of Pyraminx walkthrough solves now. Yeah, so can I do this? Okay, yeah, so hope you can see it all right. So from where can I know about cubing competitions? The WCA website. They have basically all your information on WCA competitions, so make sure to check that out. Okay, so these are the type of scrambles I actually get a lot of questions on. So where there are no real like immediate blocks you can see. So for such a scramble, I would say pick basically a side where you can see the best block to make. So I guess I can start by doing this. So yeah, so the first step, what I would start here is so this is the green and blue edge, and it really needs to be here for you to make the green and blue kind of block. So what you want to do is I guess first, and you can solve this center in the process. That's the other thing. So I'd start by firstly, since this is the 3-tip scramble, I think it would probably be best to solve all 3 tips now. So solve all 3, and as you're doing your last tip, start into the motion of this turn, and now you can move this in to make this block and put this in here. And since you know that this green and red piece will be here, when you do the R prime, you can immediately transition into inserting this piece. And now rotation, and this basically L4E. It's pretty simple. You basically, and you just have the 3 cycle now. Yeah, we can do a couple more now, I guess. And then maybe if you guys are interested, I can do some 2x2 walkthrough falls, although those are pretty standard. Don't have much to them. Okay, yeah, so for this scramble, I would probably say your best bet would be to go for a blue, because blue is one move away from your basically a center being solved, and it also has this edge here that's pretty easy to insert. So I'd start by, obviously you have this tip in the back, and doing that in the beginning isn't the ideal. So start by doing these 2, and then L prime, U prime, L prime to, okay, first of all L prime, U prime to make this block, and then this, and then L prime to make your centers, and immediately transition into the motion of inserting this piece here. And now, okay, this is not a very good L4E, but I guess I can talk about it. So what you want to do is insert, so you effectively, what this L4E is, you're putting this piece into this slot, which is where it needs to go, red and green into the red and green slot, and in the process you're setting up for 3 cycle, which is what many CLLs are. I don't know domino reduction, Atharva, I'm sorry, but yeah, so insert this in here like so. Basically you're moving it out of the way, putting this in here, and you set up for a 3 cycle with these 3 edges. So, and for your last turn, you can solve this with your left hand ring, middle finger. So you can solve it like this as you're doing your last U move. So like that. Yeah, I can do, I guess, a couple more now. Yeah, Gautam, I do remember you. Hi. Bro, the Tengyun 2x2 worth it. The Tengyun 2x2, in my opinion, is like, I've tried it. I don't personally own one, but it's very good. That's one thing I can tell you. The Tengyun, the 2x2, it's like, it has a very soft feel that resembles the Tengyun 3x3, but obviously it has issues like instability and such, so make sure to take that into account before purchasing it or anything. Yeah, okay, so this is not the best scramble. Okay, yeah, so I think, yeah, I can do this one. So it's not too bad, I think. So what I would do is, I would start by, basically you have the, so I think what you could do is, you could start by doing it from this angle, obviously. Start by doing these 2 tips and an RU prime to make this block. From there, inserting this edge into here by R prime, U prime, R, and then and instead of doing an L prime and having your V on the bottom, what I would recommend is kind of doing a push like this so that your V is on the bottom. So do that. From there, what that also does is that solves this block here. So now if you insert this green and yellow edge like here, once you rotate, you have just direct 3 move insert. So that's pretty good. Okay, reconstruct my NR solve. That's actually pretty cool. I think I could do that. So it's pretty easy solve. Yeah, this was the scramble. So basically, what I saw in inspection was that obviously these 2 tips I had to solve in the motion of the solution, and basically you have this algorithm, right? And this algorithm, the solution is R prime, and then you insert a piece like this in R. So it's basically R prime trigger R. So it's a setup move. But what I realized is that the R prime was already done in the solution, so I could continue on with the algorithm. So I started by doing these two turns together, and then I did this, continued with the algorithm, and at the end I kind of did this tip. And obviously the execution wasn't that fast as I could have done it now, but it was still nice. Yeah, I guess we can do like one more, and then I guess I can move on to like 2x2 or something, whatever you guys, or 3x3. Some people ask me 3x3 as well, but although that's not really my expertise, you could say. But wait, I have to change this grammar. Okay, yeah, so we have here. Okay, yeah, so one good thing about this scramble is that, as you can see, it has a block on blue. I would suggest doing blue. So what I would do is I would start by doing solving this tip here, and doing, so you know that when you do an R move, if you do an R move ever in your solution, you have this green center on the back, which means that green is going to be here, your green centers. So that means that this blue and green edge, when you bring it to the top layer, you want to solve it into the back. So firstly, after you solve the tip, bring it here. So now you have this block here, and since this is in perfect position to be solved into the back, first do this U prime on the tip, and then put this block in and insert it here. And now you have this block, and from there just do your L4E, which is pretty simple. Okay, we can do a couple of 2x2 ones, sure. So first we'll start with this. Yeah, okay, so firstly this is pretty nice solve, I guess. So obviously you have your 2x2, these two with the red ones solved opposite to each other. Then you have this going in opposite, and if you solve this in here, it's going to be opposite. And the thing is, you also have the R2 U2 R prime U2 R2 case. So basically you have this case but the inverse of it. So sorry about that. Yeah, so yeah, I'm not really good at 4x4 unfortunately. But yeah, so once you start, you have U prime and then R prime, and that gives you this case. And the thing is, this is the opposite of the case that will give you the PLL skip, which is the CLL. But what this will do is it will solve things adjacent to each other, or actually opposite to each other, my bad. And since they're going to be solved opposite to each other, and your bottom is opposite to each other, your bottom layer, that will give you an R2 F to R2, or basically the adjacent solution to finish the cube, anti-CLL. So basically what you can do is, and since it's a U prime R prime, and then you have to start with an R2 on the solution, you can do a U prime and then directly transition into the algorithm by an R, and then cancel into the F2 as well. So that'll be pretty fast, like 1.4, 1.5. Yeah, that's nice. We can do the next one. How many cubes you have? I don't keep count of it. I'd say probably it's like edging toward maybe 60s, 70s. That's a lot. I wouldn't say that much. Maybe around 50. I'd just blanket it around that much. So yeah, okay. Yeah, this is another nice anti-CLL case. So, Chi, yeah. I think Aji and Sabra used the Chi D for a long time. I think it's not that great now, but it's still a decent cube. So what you want to do is, for this solution, obviously you have all these solved opposite to each other, so you want to go for something like that again. And what I would recommend is, basically if you trace pieces, so basically obviously you know that when you're doing insert like this piece will come here because you're doing, this piece will come here, this piece will move here, this piece will stay there. So automatically that helps you realize that it's going to be the F R U R prime U prime, and then the R prime F R. It's going to be that case. So what I mean is, this case, it's going to be basically two adjacents here, here. So you already know it's going to be that case. But again, because of anti-CLL, what you realize is that even though these are the same color, solving it from here will give you the opposites. So basically what you could do is, instead of holding it like that, you hold it from here, do a U prime, and then cancel into this, and again cancel into the anti-CLL. So yeah, that would be another 2x2 one. Stronger magnets or light magnets, I would suggest, honestly it depends all on your turning really, but I'd say for competition usage, if you're planning on if you, like for example shake a lot. If you have unstable turning, if you shake a lot in competition, make sure to probably look into some stronger magnets. Okay, yeah, tips on sub 10, Atharva. I think tips on sub 10, as I mentioned, you want to just make sure you know all basic algs like OLL, PLL, and then after that work on your F12 efficiency and things like that. Okay. Okay, this won't be a very good solution, but I guess I can talk about it anyways. Yeah, so for this solution, what I would do is, because obviously you don't have very many good layer options, but what I would do is I would do white, even though it has the opposite, so that's probably not going to be that good. How do you lube your cubes? Okay, I'll talk about that quickly after this. So basically, what you want to do is basically to make your EG1 layer, which is basically a layer with an adjacent swap like a T-perm. I don't play video games, but yeah, so you start by obviously this is orange, so when you insert this piece into this slot, you'll make this orange bar, and since this is not blue, you're going to have the T-perm type swap here. So insert this, and now you have this bar, and then you're going to solve this piece into here. And now you have an EG1 case, so what I would do is probably rotate, although it's not that efficient, and solve it. The case is like this, and it has no AUF luckily, so that's nice. Okay, I can do like a couple of 3x3 walkthrough solves now. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so yeah, so I think I'm color neutral, so I can really stick to any solving color, but what I would say here is probably for my cross, what I would do is, obviously this is opposite, so I would solve the red and white piece so it's opposite as well into this slot, like this first. That makes these two opposites. Then from there do a U again and put this into here, and now you do a D prime R prime D to solve your cross. From there, I think the best option immediately is, so obviously you have these two pieces, you can see them on the back from tracking, so what I would do is I would do a U prime like this and then set them up for a 3-move insert here. And immediately you see these two, so these can be solved by doing this R prime U2 R, R U2 R prime, and that sets them up for another 3-move insert back here. And also the other thing is it moves directly into the motion, so basically you can do this and continue into the motion and solve that there. From here, what I would actually suggest is, instead of going for these pair immediately, I recognize this with white on top, which means that I could rotate and make this pair basically with a U prime and then solve it into the back by taking it out, moving it in like this. And now you know that obviously these two are here, so solve it by pairing it up and then inserting it. And then from there, just your OLL, and you have a U-perm, so that's nice. What's my name? My name is Naren Ramesh. I think I could probably add that to the pinned. Okay, so my name is Naren Ramesh, yeah. I can do another 3x3 solve. Okay, so yeah, I think this works. So orange is pretty nice here, so I think I'll do orange. Yeah, so I think I'll go for orange in this case. So it's a pretty nice cross solution, and I would actually do a wide move in this case. So what you can do is start by doing an FR2 and then do a wide U prime, and what that does is it sets up these nicely for this 3-move insert and put that in the back. And now you have this set up for the 3-move insert, so insert that in the back here. And I guess after that, the immediate thing is, what I would do is, I would probably do these two, but I would do them like this, solving them here. And now from here, you can basically do these two like this, setting them up for the 3-move insert. Now you have this OLL, it's a very nice fast one, and TLL. What age were you when you started cubing? So I was, I believe, 9 years old when I started cubing. I turned 10 pretty soon after I started, but yeah, I was in my late stage when I started cubing. I'm 14 now, so I've been cubing for 5 years. Okay, fine. So I can do one more 3x3 solve, then I'll talk about like competition experience and stuff, because I've been to a lot of competitions and do have a lot of not a lot of expertise, I'd say, but I have a lot of experience in that field. When did you decide to get magnetic cubes? I got my first magnetic cube in 2016, I believe 2016. Actually 2017, my bad. It was the QnA Okay, fine. So what I would do is I would do white, obviously, because so you have this white and green kind of bar with the center edge here. Camera, that's good for cubing. Okay, so I'll basically any high frame rate camera. I use the Canon M50 for my YouTube videos because it has 60 FPS with 1080p, so it looks pretty nice. But yeah, I think some phone cameras also have 60 FPS and it works pretty well. So what I would do is first put this in, take this out. So now you have this blue and white edge outside, and do the D2, and don't do it like that, obviously. Do a D2 with your ring finger and then R, and now you have this edge bud. So since you have your red center here, you automatically know that with this edge here, you're going to have to do, so when you're solving your cross, since you want to set up this pair into here so that you can do the R prime U to R to set it up, start by doing a D prime and U at the same time, and then immediately start by solving this pair. So do that by basically pairing it up like this and inserting. From there you obviously have this immediately. You have this basically pair, so you want to take it out by doing this. So basically put them like this, and I guess you could solve them like this, but it's not very efficient in this case because it involves a rotation. So R, U, R prime, and then like this, solve it into the back. Basically it's a setup with a 3 move. From there now, this immediately sticks out to you, right? And a lot of people do this inefficiently, so I think it's nice to look into this. Basically what you want to do is do a U, and R prime sets it up for another insert, and yeah. And now what I would basically do is just solve this normal way, no real EO thing here. So just go here like that, and then just do the lefty version of this algorithm and A-bomb. Yeah, so Arch Goal, I think a lot of people have answered the question, but the WCA, worldcubeassociation.com, I think is the, or .org, my bad, is the full URL basically, and it gives you all the information about live competitions when they're happening. Obviously right now we're not having them. Yeah, I know. So I guess now what we can talk about is, so we can go over a bit of competitions and such. Yeah, so basically if I just pull up my WCA page here, so yeah, like I've been to close to, I believe, 50 competitions by now, or maybe even 50 already, I'm not too sure. Yeah, I've been to quite a few competitions though, so yeah. Okay, so come on. Okay, it's not really loading that quickly, but basically for context, I've been going to, so okay fine, Vishwanath first asks that, like, what cameras do you have? So I have a GoPro that I use for filming competition solves, and I have a Canon M50, which is a mirrorless camera that I use for filming my YouTube videos. They're both pretty high quality, so I like using them. Okay fine, so yeah, so I've been 49 competitions, so just less than 50, and because of that, I have a lot of like experience with like nerves and things like that. So I think I'll talk about that for a bit. First of all, I'll talk about why you should attend a competition. So competitions are very important to attend because I think they give you motivation above all. So when you're first starting out, I think this is probably a feeling for quite a few people, because obviously the number of people that get cubes but don't end up going to competitions is quite high. So what I would recommend is going to a competition early on helps garner your interest, because when you first start queuing, you don't really have too many like objectives and such. You just kind of, you learn to solve and then you're like, oh, what next? Obviously a lot of people first, they immediately see, okay, I'm going to get fast, I'm going to get sub 1, then I'm going to get sub 30, sub 20, and so on, right? So they have their like ideas in mind, but a lot of people are just like, well, what do I do with this? Like, how do I continue further on? So I think one thing that's one important thing to do is to make sure that you go to a competition early on, because first of all you're going to meet a lot of people that do exactly what you do, a lot of newcomers as well. There are plenty of newcomers, especially in Indian competitions. So you're going to meet a lot of them. You're going to meet a lot of cubers that have cubed, like for example me, I guess, for like quite some time, like 5 years. And what that's going to help you learn is it's going to help you like first of all, obviously you might not make final second rounds in your first competition. That'll help you like really maintain some new goals, finally get some goals, learn about like where to find resources. Also, you're going to meet some people that have a lot more expertise on a certain event that you like, and like you can get tips from them. You can finally learn where to like learn your algorithms, for example, what YouTube tutorials to watch. And generally going to a competition kind of helps you. First of all, it really gives you the desire to want to improve, because obviously you want to make the next rounds. I have not met Felix Zemdex. I do practice a little FMC, but yeah, so I'll get back to what I was saying. So when you go to your competition, you often, especially if you don't make the first round immediately, which is happening now because competitions are increasingly getting harder. One thing I will say is that you go to the competition, you actually you realize that you have to improve in various ideas and various methods and such, and that it gives you the interest to actually pursue getting better in that particular event. So for example, for me in my first competition, which was national, so already extremely hard, I saw a lot of my favorite cubers there. I saw Vijay Kishore solving. He got a very good 3x3 average. I was watching Anish do big cubes. So yeah, actually a funny event was that when I walked into Nationals 2015, like my first competition, as soon as I walked in, like I saw like Anish like get like a good solve, and he was like pretty happy with that. And that kind of, it was like, it left me in awe, because like, you know, big cubes were such a cool thing to me at the time, and they still are, because like big cubes are really awesome. But anyways, besides that, so yeah, obviously Nationals 2015, I didn't make many second rounds. Actually, I didn't make any second rounds, and like I didn't do well particularly in any event for myself. But really what I learned from that competition was that obviously the cubing scene is nothing short of just like, obviously I made so many new friends. I talked to so many people who are faster than me, but they still like respected me as like a person, and people don't, you know, aren't rude to you or anything because you're slower than them or things like that. So people are always very respectful. They help you, they talk to you, especially top cubers. They seem very intimidating at first, but they're some of the nicest people ever. And what I would say is that just going to a competition helps like instill that it makes you really want to improve, and makes you want to basically get to the level that you end up achieving, which is for me, you know, getting a nationals podium, getting a national record. Although that was kind of lucky for me at the time, it's still an achievement nonetheless. And I think generally any good result like sub 10, sub 15, sub 20, these are all big barriers to achieve. And I think going to competitions really makes you want to achieve them, because like I said, going like you won't be always motivated to compete or practice during your entire time cubing. By that, what I mean is that you might start off very interested. You cube for like 2 years with like extreme focus, and you get to like a good time. Like you get really fast in like maybe even 1 year. But then you start losing like interest. Maybe you have like other things, like for example studies or something. That basically you don't have like you always have to make time for your hobby, obviously. But sometimes you just lose motivation to practice. And a good way to combat the loss of motivation is to go to a competition, because going to a competition like brings back everything you remember effectively why you love cubing so much. So that's one thing. Competitions are, I think, important for everyone, whether you average like 5 minutes or like 5 seconds. Basically, competitions are literally the best ever. About myself, yeah, I think I already discussed it mostly. So I've been cubing since 2015, and I've attended 49 competitions. I've podiumed quite a bit. I think, how many podiums do I have? I think I have like 60 something. 62 I believe is the number. Yeah, I think I have like 62 podiums or something like that. So I have quite a bit of podiums, but more importantly, I think I specialize in Pyraminx and 2x2. I make some nice Pyraminx tutorials on my on my YouTube channel, so make sure to check that out. I don't practice feet, no. I never really practiced feet that much, but after it got removed, I stopped really considering it. Although I do think it should be added again, because some people